Alright, first of all, how to install the plugin platform and the inspect plugin. So we go here, and here we have the plugin platform. We just copy all this, and we go to our game, cstrike, and then we just move it. I already did it, but I'm gonna do it again. So it's gonna ask me to replace some stuff. See? Why is it lagging? Okay, that's weird. I'm using a new laptop, not the old one, so that was weird. All right, now that we have the plugin platform, we go to the inspect plugin, and we just copy the same add-ons and CFG to cstrike. There we go. And to make the game read the plugin, we need to copy this line inside the game info file, which is also inside cstrike. Here it is. Not sure if you can paste it anywhere, but here we'll do it. So we go here, right here, we paste it, save, and there we go. We already have the plugin installed. Also, I forgot to explain this, but you need to create an auto-exec file. You can create it inside cstrike and CFG, or we can also create it inside cstrike custom or random folder name and CFG. Now here I already have one, but if you want to create it, just create a new text file and rename it autoexec.cfg, and it's gonna ask you that this, and then you just click yes. But I won't do it because that will replace my previous autoexec file. So once you already have this, you open it with Notepad. I already have this command, but I'll delete it. So in instructions, tells you that you need to copy this and paste it inside the autoexec file. So this is a command that binds the inspect animation to a key. Every time you press P, you will trigger the inspect animation. But if you don't want that key, you can put it to another key, but don't put it to a main key like WASD or any other default key. So P is good, but in my case I'll use I. So every time I press I, the inspect animation will trigger. Okay, now I'm going to explain you how to make a mod with an inspect animation, so the inspect plugin reads it. Now it's usually an easy process, but if you're doing a weapon that replaces the USP or M4A1, which have an attachable suppressor, or if you're doing a weapon with a long shoot animation like a shotgun with a pump animation, usually it's replacing the M3. Or if you're doing a sniper with a bolt animation, usually for the scout or the op, then you need to do a bit more. But if it's not those weapons, then it's mostly an easy process. So first we'll go with weapon that's none of those, for example the Glock. So here I have a renating mod that's replacing the Glock. So here we already have our inspect animation, so we open the QC file. And now we need to make a sequence for the inspect animation for the plugin. I already have one here, but I'm gonna make it again. You can just copy one from here and then just paste it. Now here you can put whatever you want, but it's usually the same name as your animation. And here we put the name of our animation. In this case, it's just inspect. Now I say usually you put the same here, because in the end crowbar is gonna replace this name into your animation. Not sure why. Now the activity, it tells you it's this one, so we copy and paste it. Now, if you want to add sounds, you can do it, but I'll go over that in a moment. Now, fade in and fade out, I usually just put 0.2. Not sure what that means. And FPS 30, that means default spin animation. If you want your animation to be slower, you put a lower number, or if you want it to be faster, you put a higher number. Usually, you just leave it at 30. Now, I recommend you to not add the snap line for the inspect animation. If you want, you can add it, but I feel it looks better if you don't add it. Basically, the snap line does that, just snaps the animation instead of going into a transition. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not necessary. All right, so now I'll explain how to add sounds. So you need to put this event 5004, then oh shit, sorry. I already had my sound events here. All right, now I can explain. All right, so you put first events 5004, then the frame you want a sound to play, and then the name of the sound event. So in this case, at frame 0, a sound event will load a sound. At frame 35, another sound event will load another sound. At frame 59, another sound event will load another sound, and so on. And we need to add this to our weapon sound script too, which is inside scripts and weapons. So we go here, scripts, weapons, and so we're doing a Glock mod, so we open Glock. I already have my sound events here, so usually you put your sound event here, then you put some things, I'll explain in a moment, and you always put the path of the sound you want it to be played, Alright, I usually use these 4 things: channel, volume, this thing, and pitch. So channel, I usually put it chan item. But if you're having sounds that are way too together, for example, let's say a sound is playing at frame 0 and another sound is playing at frame 6, then you need to use chan static. That way your sounds will not get cut. Otherwise they will get cut. But if you're sure they're not together, then you can just use chan item. Then volume is the volume of the sound. Default is 1 or 1.0. If you want a lower volume, then you put a lower number, 0.4 for example. But it's usually for default 1 or 1.0. Now I don't know what this thing is, but not sure if it changes anything, but I usually leave it as 1. Now pitch, well, it's the pitch of the sound. Default is pitch norm or 100. So if you want a lower pitch, a lower number, and if you want a higher pitch, a higher number. You can also do it randomized. For example, let's say 95 and 105. So a pitch will play between these values. But usually for this type of sounds, I usually just leave it with default pitch. And then of course the path of our sound. So it says weapons M9 and then the name of our sound. So we'll check if it's true. We go sounds weapons M9 and then the name of our sound. It's always on this format. It will not read MP3 files, I believe, or any other type of file, sound file. So it has to be this one. Alright, it's done, so we can compile this gun. To compile, we use crowbar. We set it up as Counter-Strike source, same here. And I usually choose subfolder. That means a folder will be created right here. And you can name it whatever you want. So we search our QC file. Here it is, and we compile this. Now, while it's compiling, I'll explain something. So we need to add a line here, add-on source mods configs weapons lookout action. We need to add a line that will make the plugin read our inspect animation. So we'll copy this sample right here. So like I told before, if you're doing a weapon replacing the USP and M4A1, which have an attachable suppressor, or if you're doing a weapon with a long shoot animation, like a shotgun with a pump animation or a sniper with a bolt animation, you need to fill the last 5 numbers. But if you're not doing that, for example, we're doing the Glock, then you only need to fill this. So the first one is easy, it's just the weapon we're replacing, in this case Glock. Then the second one is the order of our sequence, and the instructions tell you that it starts from 0 instead of 1. So we have the sequences here, and we'll count from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the order of our inspect sequence is 7. Why do I have 2 open? Alright, so the order of our sequence is 7. Now the second number is just the amount of frames the inspect animation has. Now we can do it both ways. We can either view the model, so we'll go here, we search our model, we view it, and then we go to sequence and we choose inspect, and then we slide this bar all the way to the right, and it says 140. That means our inspect animation has 140 frames. Now the second way is to go to our animation, inspect animation. We open it with Notepad, and here we have all the frames. The frames always start with time and a number. That's the number of the frame. Now we go all the way down, and then we search the last time, and here it is, and it says 140. That means it has 140 frames. So that's the other way. Okay, so it's done. Now if we replace our, if we move our compiled mod to the custom folder, then it should work. Now I shouldn't be doing this because I already have it, but I'll do it anyway, because just so I show you that I'm not saying BS and stuff. Alright, so we open our game. Let's try a weapon with a long shoot animation. I'll try doing the Model 680, replacing the M3, and also the R90. I know it replaces the XM1014, but I'm pretty sure the same condition applies, because it has a a long shoot animation because I added a rechamber animation too. Alright, so we go to these ones. Let's do the model 680 first. So you already know, inspect, animation. I'll go over this very quickly. Then you create this inspect sequence, whatever you want, and here the name of your animation, the activity, fade in, fade out, FPS 30, and then you compile it. And while we compile this, we will create the line for the weapons look at action. Since we're doing a weapon replacing the M3, we put here M3. Now you already know the first number is the order of the inspect sequence, so, and we start counting from 0, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. And now we view the amount of frames. So I'll do it with a second method I explained to you before. And the last time has the number 155, that means it has 155 frames. And now the last number is the amount of frames of the fire of the shoot animation. Well, it's the same, fire animation, shoot animation. The last time it says 36, then it means the fire animation has 36 frames. And then we copy this here. Now let's do the same for the R90. Oh, forgot it's inside the same folder. We already have the inspect animation. We open the QC file. We create the inspect sequence. Wherever you want to name here, and the name of the inspect animation, the activity, the sounds, the sound events if you added them, fade in, fade out, and FPS 30. So now we will compile this one too. And while we do that, we will create the line for this one. So we're doing an Edsen 1014 mod. Now we check the order of the inspect sequence, counting from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 again. Now we will check the amount of frames from the inspect animation. We'll do it with the first method. So we go to sequence, we choose the inspect animation, and then we slide this thing all the way to the right, and it says 158. That means the inspect animation has 158 frames. And then we go to the fire animation. Here I have two sequences for the fire animation, but they load the same animation, just so you don't get confused. Alright, so we slide this thing all the way to the right, and it says 34. That means the fire animation has 34 frames. And now we test it. Alright, now I'll do the last sample, which is a weapon replacing the USP or M41. We'll do the M41, alright? You need to have an inspect animation, but you also need to have two versions, one suppressed and one not suppressed. Then we go to our QC file, and we create two sequences, one for the suppressed inspect and another one for the unsuppressed inspect. So we name here whatever we want, then the name of our inspect with suppressed animation, then the activity, then the sounds, fade in, fade out, and FPS 30. Here whatever you want, the name of our inspect unsuppressed, then the activity, the sound events, fade in, fade out, and FPS 30. Now I wish I could compile this, but when I compiled the default Modern Warfare M41 with the Modern Warfare gloves rig, it kind of gave some problems, so I asked a friend, Aiden, to compile this gun with a Gmod rig, I believe, and it worked. So we'll check that one. Now let's do the line for the M4. We're doing an M41 mod. Now let me read instructions because I don't remember too much of this. Alright, so first one is the sequence order of the inspect with no suppressor. Yeah. So we go to our QC file, we start counting from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 sequence of the inspect with no suppressor. And also let's check the amount of frames. Inspect with no suppressor, he has 154 frames. Now the second number is the sequence order of the inspect with the suppressor. So in this case it's one before, so we don't need to count that, so to realize that it's 14. And also since it's the same animation, in my case it has the same amount of frames, 154. Alright, then the next number is the next two numbers are of the animation, no, the sequence order of the two idle animations, unsuppressed and suppressed. So first is the sequence order of the idle with no suppressor. It's this one, so we will start counting. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7. And now the sequence order of the idle animation with suppressor. It's the first one, so it's 0. And you don't feel the last number because I told you that's for weapons with long shoot animation. Alright. Now that's done. Oh, sorry, it's M41. Not sure why I typed another A. Alright, let's do the same for the for the USB, here I have an H16 mod. Same as before, inspect with no suppressor, inspect with suppressor. Then we open the QC and we do the sequences for the inspect with suppressor and inspect with no suppressor, like the M4. Then we compile this. And now we create the line. So this is a weapon replacing the USB. Now the sequence order of the inspect with no suppressor: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Now the amount of frames of the inspect with no suppressor: 140. Now the sequence order of the inspect animation with suppressor, it's one before, so it's 17 in this case. Now the amount of frames of the inspect with suppressor, in my case, is the same, 140. Now the sequence order of the idle animation with no suppressor, so we start counting from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then the idle animation sequence, the sequence of the idle animation with suppressor. It's the first one, so it's 0. Okay, it's done. Now we replace this one to our mods. And yeah, let's do this.
Reloading!
1, 2, 3, 4. No, sorry. Starts from 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I am so sorry I counted, but yeah. So the sequence order of the inspect with no suppressor is 17, so the sequence order of the inspect with suppressor is 1 before, so it should be 16. I am so sorry about that, guys. Alright, now let's try it again.
Let's get this party started! Reloading! Reloading!
So now I'll explain to you how to install a weapon mod that has an inspect animation and is meant for the inspect plugin. So it should be like installing any other weapon mod. And for example, here I have the 50 GS already set up with the inspect line, and I mean with the inspect animation and stuff. So like I told you before, it's just like installing any other weapon mod. You put it inside your custom folder, and then it should come with a line that is for the weapons look at action text folder. So you copy this line and yeah, you paste it, and that's it. Now, let's say the mod has an inspect animation for the inspect plugin, but for some reason they didn't add this line. Now that's easy. With all I explained to you before, I'm pretty sure you can do that. So we'll do ourselves as an example. Alright, create another folder here. So we decompile our weapon. And alright, first of all, it's replacing the deagle, so here we put deagle, and we also know that we will only fill the first two numbers because it's a deagle. Now you already know the first number is the inspect sequence order, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In this case it's 6. See, 6. And then the amount of frames. Now we'll do it by opening with Notepad. We go all the way to the bottom, and with the last time it says 140. That means it has 100 and 40 frames. See, 140. And we save it. And yeah, let's test it in game.